Okay, there's something that you can say in an interview that if you say it correctly, and presumably it's true, it's like dynamite, okay? And that is telling the interviewer, whether they're a recruiter or a hiring manager, I want this job. Now, let me explain. You don't say it in an awkward, weird way. You don't say it in a desperate way, like I need money, I want this job. That's not what we're talking about. You say it in an inspired way. And hopefully this reflects the reality. If you regard the job as a good job, you would like to do that job. It's not just the money, but you'd actually like to do the job itself. It speaks to your strengths, something maybe you went to school for that you're interested in. If that's the reality, then under no circumstances can I see anyone not saying this. This is gold to a recruiter. They are, like I said earlier, they're looking for someone who specifically wants this job. They do not want a candidate who will just go wherever they're paying. Now, I know the reality is that a lot of people do feel like that, and that's understandable. We all know it's understandable. But what the recruiter is specifically looking for, and they're hoping to find it, is a candidate that specifically wants to do this job. They have an affinity for doing this type of work. That's what they're looking for. So if you volunteer this in a job interview, you're playing right into that. Now, I did a video years ago where I talked about an experience of mine where I actually got a job and I said this during like the final interview. And this is many years ago, so I don't remember the details, but I was flown to Toronto, Canada to have the final interview with this company. I sat down with their CEO in a restaurant. That was my interview, and I remember specifically saying this to them. And what I did was I said something along the lines of, "Listen, I want to tell you something, and I want to make sure that you get it or you're listening." So I said, "Are you listening?" And they said yes. And I said, "Okay, I want this job." And then I backed it up and I said, like, I don't know, something to the effect of, this brings together several disparate skills and experiences that I have. I've got experiences here. I got experiences here. I got experiences here. This job brings all of those together. And I didn't think I would be able to find a position that made use of all three of those separate areas all in one role. So I'm really excited about doing this. I feel that I can really bring something to this role and that it would give me a chance to use all of my talents and all of my knowledge and abilities in one role. I'm very excited about that, So I said something of that nature and I got the job. And I suspect that it was basically because I said that they went with me. I was also, and I know this for a fact, I was not the lead candidate. They had other people that they were considering that, for example, they had far more experience in sales and stuff than I did. I'm not a sales guy. I'm an operations guy. But I'd done some sales. I'd managed sales teams and things. But they had talked to salespeople that were genuine salespeople. And so they had an edge over people like me for that role. But they went with me. And I strongly suspect it was because of that. So this is gold if you can find the opportunity to say it in a job interview. A great place is when they ask you, what are your strengths? Or why do you want to work here? Or, what can you bring to the role? Why do you want this job? All that kind of stuff. If they ask you those questions, that's a great opportunity. But if you can work that in, it really gives you the edge. So that's what I want to share with everyone. It is kind of stupid that this works, but I understand how a lot of people think. You shouldn't have to say this. It's kind of strange that just saying this or saying certain things would give you the edge. But the reason is you're making a first impression. They don't know you. They don't know that you're awesome. You're just like a number, like a walking blank slate. They don't know who you are. So when you say stuff like that, that really frames the image that they have of you now. You're the one that's really passionate about this role and you're into it and you're saying all the right things. And it really carries a lot of weight. That's kind of the deal. And one last thing, what I would say to everybody is, hopefully this creates a new awareness of what's actually going on in the job interview. You're making a first impression, and you have absolutely no objectivity of what you're doing with the first impression. You don't even realize it's happening. You can't put yourself in their shoes and see through their eyes. You absolutely can't do that about yourself. So it's concepts like this that are kind of foreign and alien to people. If you've never worked in sales, or you've never had to persuade anyone as part of your job, you might have a kind of a blind spot for this stuff. So tune into this. Okay, you're making a first impression. That's why it should be super positive, and you do a lot of high level stuff like your attitude and how likable you are. That's why those things matter disproportionately in job interviews. So tune into this.